being a CEO also means that you have to become some kind of influencer. As stupid as this might sound, yeah, you have to be present because people want to see who they're doing business with.
You know, the sense of privacy is gone, and so anything that you put up there in the cyber world is there forever. I always tell people it's really hard to erase data. Data is almost impossible to erase. So when you put a post out there, you know, there's so many people that can see it that you have to be careful about the errors that you could make.
As a serial entrepreneur, I'm always trying to evolve. Having great conversations with other high performers is one of the best ways to grow. Not only in business, but also in spirit, health, and relationships. This is Svencast. Listen, grow, repeat. Being reflective is very important. It's also like observing what happens in the world. Like, for example, old media is newspapers, TV, and that kind of thing is moving to social media and YouTube and Netflix and these types of things. Most, like, back in the days, everyone was using a PC and then later a laptop, and nowadays, for example, when you look at online marketing, most people are just using smartphones, maybe an iPad, maybe like a notepad like that, but mostly smartphones. So the whole media is changing. People's behavior is changing. It's also attention span is changing, because if you're online and if you want to, like us, we want to bring a lot of information online. We want to bring valuable information online, not just blatant advertising, but also like really like things people can learn from and things that content that inspires people. But it's still new media, and we have to figure out new ways to still get to people and to be within their, let's say, attention span. And the competition on the internet, on the smartphone, is extreme, because each and every app wants your attention and wants, for example, if someone uses Instagram wants you to be there at all times. And if you have an account there, they're going to do everything in their power to keep you busy with their app as much as they can. For example, they limit your reach. Like if you have like 10,000 followers, then you will be able to reach maybe 5% if you post something out. The other 95% followers won't see your post, and then your interaction goes down, and then with it your status, because you're getting less likes, less comments, less interactions. It's crazy. So this new environment, it's changing. Also in politics, you know, like you're seeing like, okay, politicians are mainly on social media nowadays, and their social media campaign matters more than their, I don't know, State of the Union address or something. It's really, really interesting, and it's changing at a very fast pace. And like we as an organization, and it doesn't matter if you're small or big, you have to kind of adapt. And I'm afraid that a lot of people from for example, my generation, I grew up in the 80s and 90s, they're not always able to keep up with that pace of the world changing. No, they don't understand. Oh, they need social media. They need videos. You know, like they think, okay, like the typical business guy in his 40s or her 40s is thinking, okay, if I have a website, then I'm fine. A website and business cards, but that's not it. Like, it's not enough anymore. Like or being a CEO, for example, I feel like being a CEO also means that you have to become some kind of influencer. As stupid as this might sound, but yeah, you have to be present because people want to see who they're doing business with. They want to get to know you. They want to get an idea of who you are as a person, and they want that in an entertaining way. They don't want to read a resume. They don't, because resumes are anyway like polished. They want to see the real guy or girl, and they want to decide if they feel good with the way you think, with what you stand for, what your culture is. Like, are you, for example, friendly, or are you very harsh, for example? It's like a thing.
Mhm.
Like with some businesses, it might work to be really harsh. With some, it doesn't. It's very different. So it's the pace is really astonishing these days, but it leads to a very clear vision, which is digitalization with everything. Stuff will get printed with 3D printers. Stuff will be connected to the internet. So in some ways, it's very predictable, in my opinion. Everything will be automated. Any type of simple work will be just automated. Will be replaced by robots and AI, and everything will be. Most things will become irrelevant.
Yeah, that's a good. I think I think first of all, I think you're right. I think your understanding of how technology will evolve is right down the right path. So what's interesting about, let's assume that you're right, which like I said, I agree with. What does that mean for organizations? How can we serve people in a way that is a world that is emerging, that we can, we can somehow envision, but we don't know the nuances that are going to happen along the way. But can we be observant enough to be able to follow the trend and stay a little bit ahead of it and try to predict where we need to be successful? The world's very different, right? The amount of information that's available is astronomical, which is scary, right? The sense of privacy is gone, and so
Yeah.
anything that you put up there in the cyber world is there forever. I always tell people it's really hard to erase data. Data is almost impossible to erase. So when you put a post out there or you put a picture out there, there's so many people that can see it that you have to be careful about the errors that you could make. And something that you think is a joke could end up being very offensive or you don't know. It's so hard to manage. So being able to understand that world, I think, is going to be one of the keys for success. And I don't think it's going to be easy. I
Yeah.
think, Sven, you've got a really good, you see it in a very realistic way and not sugarcoating it. You're saying this is going to be very different, and it is going to be very different. And so we have to sort of change our own models and our own views of the world to be able to adapt to what the world is going to be.
Yeah, and also it's for me it's a bit scary because our company is growing, it's growing internationally, and like for example for media interviews with television or so, we are always able to prepare like for the topic. But like for example, in my social media activities, I'm supposed to post constantly stuff. I'm supposed to do that constantly. And I might do something stupid because I find it funny, as you say, because you also have to be real. You can't just post, let's say, polished stuff. You can't just, you have to, people like your audience expects authenticity. So you have to kind of also say what you're thinking and say what you do and say what you like. And if you have that type of humor, people also want to see that. But it's very delicate being a CEO, especially if, for example, the company is on the stock market, like, thinking of Elon Musk, you like any type of comment you make will, destroy billions. And you might think it's just a funny joke. And maybe you even will
Right.
get in trouble with the SEC. So that's really hard. So you have to be very conscious about like what you're posting, what you're taking, what kind of jokes you're cracking, because honestly, like I have a pretty dark humor and not everyone understands it.
Yep. No, no, for sure. It's people. It's interesting that in this world that's changing. What might have been a fatal mistake before, people are in some respect understand that it's okay to make mistakes. So think about Elon Musk, all the mistakes he's made, yet he's still there. Now the stock goes up and down. He gets in trouble with the SEC. I'm not saying what he does is right or wrong, um, but but we have to figure out what does this all mean, and when is it okay to make a mistake and apologize, and people will accept that you're human, or when do you make a fatal mistake in which an apology isn't good enough. It'll be tricky. It'll be tricky to figure this out and navigate. And we as a society will adapt, and some things will become norms, and some things will fade away. And trying to navigate that is going to be one of the predictors of success.
Yeah. So, what do you think is like the most important thing for us to be more successful? For example, I'm talking about Digistore 24, obviously.
Mhm.
Um, like like plus minus, like where we're heading, like globally. Um, what do you think is important for us as an organization?
Yeah. So we are enablers. We are enablers, right? Our business model is to help people be successful. And when they're successful, we're successful. So we have a shared vested interest. It's not like like in other businesses where if we win, our customers lose. Like if the more we charge,
Mm,
the less wealth they have. So we're in this shared environment where we're trying to accomplish mutual success. And so for us, it's being able to be really in tune with the vendors and affiliates, and really be able to give them what they need to be successful, and to be innovators, and bring to them ideas or concepts that they may not have thought of themselves. So if we can do something innovative on a platform that gives them an advantage over other avenues of selling, um, that they may not have thought of. That's like a gigantic win. So level one wins are giving them the things that they need. Level two wins, the higher level wins, is giving them things that they didn't even thought of yet that help them succeed.
great. Thank you, Howard. And for the last part, I would like to like from all your experience with companies and with academic knowledge, what are like your three best tips for vendors and affiliates who are getting started and who want to monetize their passion and create a business and start a business successfully?
Yeah. So that's really interesting, Sven, because I think I have a long career, but I've learned a lot from the team that I've been working with, stuff that I never knew about because I just wasn't exposed to this. And so what I think I've learned for vendors and affiliates, um, is do things that are true to yourself. Do be in businesses that have meaning to you, and it's don't look for the where you think the money is, or you think the audience is. I mean, clearly you have to have some sense of that, but focus on things that are important to you and that you think you can be good at. The second thing I would say is a basic strategy concept, which is Apple's strategy is two words: be different. If I'm the same as everyone else, I have to sell at the same price. I have to fight with the same audience. But if you can think about, well, what is it about me or my products or my approach to marketing that's different? So focus on and find things that are different that'll make a difference for your audience. Um, so be true to yourself. Try to be different, and there's a certain amount of things where I know our motto is more sales, less work, which is a great motto. I love that motto.
That's
But
ours.
there is something to be said about work, and about effort, and the effort doesn't always have to be hours of labor, but it could be hours of reflection, and being thoughtful. So I do think, however you define work, um, that it, it increases your chance of success, being able to put the effort in to the things that are important to you. So those would be my three pieces of advice.
Okay. Howard, thank you so much for the talk. I really enjoyed it. and see you next time.
You got it. Thanks
Thank you.
very much, Sven. I really enjoyed this as well.
If you enjoyed this episode, hit the subscribe button and never miss an episode of Svencast again.